What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com, but you guys already know that. Today I am doing a 2.0 mock draft on my channel. I did my first one for you guys a few weeks ago, but I wanted to make another one given that the draft is tomorrow. I'm also thinking about maybe before the draft starts doing another live mock draft with you guys where you can help me make the picks. For those of you watching, it would really help if down in the comments you let me know if you would be interested in something like that. I'm only going to do it if enough of you guys are interested in there. But with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump into this one, and we're going to see how the board shakes out. I feel like some of my opinions have changed, and I've learned a little bit more about some other prospects since my last mock draft. So we're going to be doing a 2.0. I'll probably do a couple just because the board tends to shake out a lot differently from time to time. I mean, really, sometimes just there's players that are available there that you wouldn't think will be available at all when the actual draft rolls around, but we have seen some crazy things before, so I don't know. We're going to run it a few times, though, because sometimes I don't like the way the board shakes out, and, sometimes the top receiver is, all the top receivers are gone by, pick 31, and then I get to pick 62, and then, the receivers are down to, the guys ranked in the hundreds, and it's well, now there's just no one really worth taking, so we'll just go ahead and look at it, and really, I'm wanting the Chiefs to address some combination of edge, offensive tackle, and wide receiver in the first 3 rounds. So those are going to be the guys I'm looking at unless someone else at another position that's just so good and still available is there. You can see right now Lucas Van Ness from Iowa is there. He's probably one of the top-ranked prospects on the board, if not the top-ranked prospect. They have him as their 20th ranked prospect. Now, Lucas Van Ness is interesting. I'm going to go ahead and pause the clock this time because last time I did this, I did not pause the clock and it made the pick for me. But Lucas Van Ness is someone that could be within striking distance for the Chiefs, maybe even for a trade-up if the Chiefs are interested. I'm not sure, though. The thing with Van Ness is, honestly, he might be better suited as an interior defensive lineman, and Ryan from RGR Football came onto my channel and said that exact same thing last week. Just the way that he moves, he might be better suited inside than at edge, and because of that, it makes his positional value a little bit less. So you'd basically be taking an interior defensive lineman at 31, which I'm not a huge fan of. Another guy people like is Mazi Smith. I don't know. Brian Bresee is still available there. He's an interesting guy because between him and Myles Murphy, a lot of people think he's the better player. And for some reason, they have him available here, and they only have him ranked 29th, even though I feel like there's a pretty good chance he goes in the top 20. We'll see what they got at wide receiver, too. Jalen Hyatt, Marvin Mims, Cedric Tillman, Rashid Rice. Most of those guys are second-round players. Jalen Hyatt, I wouldn't be super upset if the Chiefs took him in the first. I feel like he's a little bit more polished than people give him credit for. I think there's definitely some traits to work with. He would definitely help out the wide receiver room. I might go with Brian Bresee, though, guys, just because of the value. Offensive tackle, there's DeJuan Jones. Not a fan of DeJuan Jones. I think he's too much like Orlando Brown. He's not a great mover on his feet. Anton Harrison, Jalen Duncan, Matthew Bergeron. I think those guys are kind of second-round guys. A lot of Chiefs fans like Anton Harrison. I'm not quite sure if he's a first-rounder anymore at this point after watching a little bit more of him. But I do like his athletic traits, and I do think he has the potential to play either left or right. Definitely right tackle starting out, though. I wouldn't throw him at left immediately as a rookie, but he does give you some versatility. I think of all the players here, though, Lucas Van Ness or Brian Bresee would be the best pick, and I think I'm going to go Bresee just because he fits the edge need a little bit more, and honestly, he might just be a better prospect than Lucas Van Ness. He was kind of the guy that made the engine run for the defensive line at Clemson, so I think I'm going to go ahead and go with him. They have him listed at interior DL, but I think he could play a little bit of outside too, and I think if you're going to play a guy inside or if you're going to pick an interior defensive lineman, I like Bresee a little bit more than Van Ness. So I'm going to go ahead and take him here. I think that's a really good value pick. We're getting their 29th ranked guy at 32, even though it's going to be pick 31 in real life, but the mock draft thing kind of hasn't messed up. All right, so next pick, let's see who's available at wide receiver. No one I really love there. I like Kayshon Boutte. You guys know I'm a believer in him. More of a mid-round guy, though. I think the second round would be a little rich for him. Let's look at offensive tackle. Who's there? They still have Jalen Duncan. They still have him as their 67th ranked prospect, so he would be a tad bit of a reach here, but he fills a need. Jalen Duncan is also a very fluid mover, though, one of the better athletes at tackle in this draft. I think people have kind of forgotten about him a little bit, and he is a realistic option in the second round, so I think I'm going to go ahead and take him because I love the upside there with Jalen Duncan, and I think he could be your right tackle. I pushed back a little bit on people at the beginning of the draft process before we signed Jawan Taylor, saying that we could draft Jalen Duncan and move on from Orlando Brown. I don't think Jalen Duncan is a day one left tackle. He might not even be a day one right tackle. He's got some things he needs to work on. He also doesn't have the longest arms in the world, but I like him here, and I like him here to compete for the right tackle job. So that means our last big wide receiver, or our last big need left is wide receiver. Trey Tucker from Cincinnati and Kayshon Boutte there. I think I might go Boutte here, even though, again, the Draft Network has him as a little bit of a reach here. I'm willing to take the risk on him. I think he's a better athlete than he showed at his pro day and at his combine. He runs past defenders fairly easily. He's just got a smart and savvy game. I'm going to go ahead and go with him, unless there's anyone else really good left on the board. Bunch of safeties in a weak safety class. I don't love that. We don't really need interior offensive line. Linebackers, yeah, I think we're going to go wide receiver. Tight end, those are all later round guys. So yeah, I'm going to go with Kayshon Boutte here. I like him over Trey Tucker. I'm buying into the upside with Kayshon Boutte. You could also double up on wide receiver because, like, right here is Tank Dell. Tank Dell would also be a really good pick. And as long as you're doubling down on receiver, I'm happy if you're getting two guys that maybe have some question marks, but the upside is very tremendous. Tank Dell is one of the better guys with change of direction in this draft. If you kind of want that Zay Flowers, Josh Downs type of player, but in the later rounds, Tank Dell is probably the way to go. He has some injury concerns, though. That's expected kind of with the smaller guys, and as you get into the mid-rounds, you're going to have wide receivers with questions next to them, but it's a chance to still grab guys with a really good athletic profile and a lot of upside. Edge, meh. I don't love the options there. Andre Carter is interesting. Not sure I love it here. Interior D-line, the quality drops off there very quickly. Running back, I don't think we really need to take a running back this early. Tight end, the value's not really there. I think I'm going to go ahead and take Tank Dell and double up on wide receiver. And that brings us to our fourth round pick. Antonio Johnson from Texas A&M is there. This guy, I've watched a little bit of him at Texas A&M. He's also from St. Louis. He's not too far from Kansas City. He went to East St. Louis High School here in Missouri. So he wouldn't be going too far to play for the Kansas City Chiefs. I like his upside a lot. Adding a good defensive back to this room, good young defensive back. I think in the fourth round here, you're kind of starting to take some shots on guys that you're not too sure about. I think Antonio Johnson has plenty of upside here, though. They have him ranked as their 53rd best prospect. He's still available at 135, which isn't a huge surprise just because the safety class isn't that great. I think some guys are maybe being a little overrated just because the safety class is a little bit weaker this year. I'm going to go ahead and take Antonio Johnson, though, because I love what he does. He plays physical, even though he's a little bit smaller. He was a playmaker for Texas A&M in the defensive backfield, so I like that. And then Jacorian Bennett from Maryland, another one who, we could always add another good, talented cornerback to this room. I believe I took him in one of my mock drafts last time, though. I do like him because even though he's not the biggest guy in the world, I mean, look, you see he's got 4.3 speed, football IQ, willing tackler. Those are all good things. He does have a little bit of trouble turning and running with guys. That's okay, though, because you have L'Jarius Sneed, you have Jalen Watson, you have Trent McDuffie, all guys that are kind of fluid in those areas. He is a little bit grabby, as it says there, but Chiefs defensive backs are always coached to do that. They've always been grabby, but downfield speed, he's got the athleticism and the arm length to kind of play in the NFL and keep up with some of those other guys, some of those good receivers. So I'm going to go ahead and take Jacorian Bennett here while we can, because I think he definitely solidifies your corner room, and he's one of the better players available here. All right, now 6th and 7th round picks. This is kind of where you're starting to address some of the other luxury needs, so like needs that aren't that big, like interior DL or running back. I saw Zach Evans was there. I took him multiple times in my last couple of mocks. It might be a little bit redundant to take him here again, but if I'm being realistic, like he would make a lot of sense here. He's one of my favorite late round running back prospects in this draft. Jonathan Mingo is also there. I mean, he's probably one of the best players available. Edge. I don't love what's here. Isaiah McGuire is there. He would be okay here too. He's a Missouri guy. I like him. Ryan also shouted him out, gave us a little bit of insight on my video that I did with him. Said he loves his speed to power conversion, that kind of thing. So that interests me. We might be able to get him at the next pick, or honestly, I might go with Jonathan Mingo because I think he has a pretty good chance of coming off the board. I think he might be the best player available here. I'm a huge Jonathan Mingo fan. And then we can go with someone like Isaiah McGuire, and then I might even be able to still land a good running back in the later rounds. Looks like Zach Evans is off the board. Keaton Mitchell from East Carolina is there, though. I really like him. Dude is juiced up to the brim, so might go with him. Isaiah McGuire doesn't look like he's coming off anytime soon. I'm not sure. I might go ahead and take him here just because I like the depth at the running back position more. But again, guys, like I'm not going to act like an expert. I'm not an expert on most of the later round guys here. So we're going to kind of be running through these picks. In real life, the Chiefs are going to be doing their due diligence with everyone, and they're going to be much more knowledgeable about these prospects than I am. Tyon Evans from Louisville is down there. He's interesting. Obviously, Mitchell is gone, but I kind of expected that given that I just prioritized edge over running back. I thought Isaiah McGuire was better. He was a better pick. Let's see who they got as their best players available. They got the Ole Miss end, Tavius Robinson. He's got some good upside. Fehoko as well from San Jose State. I know some Chiefs fans like him. He's popular to select in these mock drafts. And there's Hunter Lepke, the fullback, which a lot of people like. Honestly, you might be able to get him as a UDFA, but I mean, since we have 2 more 7th round draft picks, I might as well. I'll go Fehoko and Lepke back to back to wrap up this draft. And I think that's a very solid first mock draft. I'm not going to save it, but we'll look at the results. User picks. So we addressed our need on the defensive line with Brian Bresee, a guy with some versatility, and he was kind of the guy that made things go at Clemson there. Jalen Duncan, a very tantalizing offensive tackle prospect from Maryland. You feel probably your 2 biggest needs there with the first 2 picks, and then you're able to get 2 quality wide receiver prospects with the next 2 picks. Maybe not guys that make you feel a lot better about this wide receiver room, but they have a lot of talent. You might not have a wide receiver 1 going into next year, but if you had a couple guys go down, you could reasonably expect guys like Kayshon Boutte and Nathaniel Dell to step up as rookies. Antonio Johnson and Jacorian Bennett beefing up that defensive backfield. And then we got 2 more really exciting prospects, guys with good athletic profiles and a lot of upside, and Jonathan Mingo, who can run good routes at all 3 levels. He's a big-bodied guy. Honestly, I've seen Jonathan Mingo shoot up the boards as of recently. I could see a team overdrafting him at this point. His name has just been really popular. I think he's a day 2 or 3 guy, and he's going to get overdrafted because there's some injury concerns. He's a kind of I wouldn't say a project, but I think it's going to take him at least a year in the NFL before he really starts doing anything. Then I love Isaiah McGuire. He had a lot of sack production at Missouri. And then we got another edge in Fehoko from San Jose State, and Hunter Lepke to keep the fullback dream alive for Andy Reid and company. So solid first mock draft, but we'll go ahead and do one more because I feel like I could do a little bit better. Go back to the machine. And we'll do 7 rounds again. All right, let's go ahead and start. All right. So I already like the way this looks. We got a lot more elite prospects available here at 32. It's going to be pick 31, but TDN is stupid. Darnell Wright, offensive tackle from Tennessee. Honestly, he's my favorite offensive tackle prospect in this draft. Broderick Jones is he's exciting too, but like Darnell Wright, I just love the way he plays. He's also got kind of a nasty streak. So did Trey Smith coming out of Tennessee. He dominated top competition. Jordan Addison, wide receiver from USC. I mean, I know a lot of Chiefs fans like JSN. I'd rather have JSN than Jordan Addison, but if you can't get JSN, you're thrilled with Jordan Addison because he's the second best technician in the class and route runner. Dude just knows how to play the wide receiver position at an elite level. Quentin Johnston is also there. I really like Darnell Wright being available. I believe, though, last time I did a mock draft, I took Darnell Wright with my first pick. So I might go with a wide receiver here, especially because there's been a lot of smoke around the Chiefs drafting a wide receiver early. We get to pick from Jordan Addison and Quentin Johnston here. Most of the time when you run a mock draft, not both of these guys are going to be available at this pick. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Jordan Addison, who I believe would be a beast in this offense from day one. Quentin Johnston would take a little bit more time, but also I'd be happy with him too. But between the two, I prefer Jordan Addison. He's got that ability to get open that will take a lot of pressure off Travis Kelce and the Chiefs offense. Jalen Duncan is there again. I would love taking him here. We can get wide receiver and offensive tackle, and then we can focus on edge for the rest of the draft, especially since I don't love the edge prospects here. Isaiah Foskey is there. He seems like a Spags defensive end for sure. Very solid prospect where you know what you're getting, high floor, that kind of thing. Not super bendy, but he has an appropriate amount of bend that I would be okay with it. I think I'm gonna go Jalen Duncan again here though, guys. It just makes too much sense. I like it too much, so I'm gonna do it. And then we can focus on edge later, maybe even double up on it. So yeah, we'll go with Jalen Duncan again there. You knew we would have at least one repeat pick. Man, interior defensive line quality just drops off very quickly in this draft, which almost makes you think the Chiefs are going to be interested in a guy like Mati Smith in the first round. There's been a lot of buzz around his name. There's also been a lot of buzz around a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs, a running back, and the Chiefs potentially trading up for him. I would not love that. Now, if they drafted him at the end of the first round, look, I know a lot of you are scarred from the CEH pick. I get it. You have every right to be. But if that was Jonathan Taylor instead, I don't think we're nearly as upset. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is also a really good receiver too. So obviously he wouldn't fix your receiver problem, but Jahmyr Gibbs is such a good receiver out of the backfield that he helps in that department and actually takes a little bit of pressure off the rest of the guys in the passing game. Jahmyr Gibbs averaged 11.8 yards per catch for his career. And his career high, he had 13.3 yards per catch at Georgia Tech in his second season. So Jahmyr Gibbs is electric. I mean, I wouldn't love taking a running back in round one, but if the Chiefs do it, I would find a way to rationalize it somehow if it was Jahmyr Gibbs because dude is electric. He can turn upfield, make guys miss, that kind of thing. I don't really love what we have at edge here. I'm going to go ahead and pause the draft real quick because I don't want it making the pick for me. I don't know where we go, honestly. Because here we go with the safety and linebacker board again, kind of taking over. Zach Harrison is the best edge. I don't love him, but you almost kind of have to take him here. I mean, because even the best prospects available aren't really that great. Kenny McIntosh for interior defensive line, if we really wanted to beef up, is there. Or do they have him listed as edge? Or RB. Sorry. What? I was thinking of a different McIntosh, guys. I was thinking of a couple years ago from Miami, the defensive tackle. That's my mistake. Where do we go here? I might just go with Zach Harrison, the edge from Ohio State. I'm going to do that, and we're just going to have to be happy with it. Let me unpause and make the selection. And then we'll just have to grab another edge that we like later. Like Andre Carter's there. He's got some upside. I just accidentally drafted him. I did not mean to do that. But that's okay. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that pick. That's fine. Um, yeah, no, I'm not. I didn't mean to do that, but I'm not super upset with it. Cornerback. Ooh, Terrell Smith from Minnesota's there. I imagine safeties. Oh, Brandon Hill from Pittsburgh still available. I want to see what they say about Brandon Hill. Top reasons to buy in: physicality, instincts, range. Tackling can improve, modest ball production, frame and play style. Yeah, he is a little bit smaller. Third round value. I mean, we're in the third round, fourth round. Let's go ahead and do it. We'll take him, and we'll beef up that defensive backfield. Wide receiver. I'm looking at Jonathan Mingo again there in the later rounds because I know he's going to be there. We can get another edge. Iku Leota from Auburn. DJ Johnson from Oregon. McGuire from Missouri. Iku Leota, he's a little bit on the lighter side. Played opposite of Derek Hall. He's the better of the two. This guy would be a little bit smaller compared to your typical Spags end. Quick first step. Good size, speed, and athleticism. Lacks ideal bend. Sounds like a Spags end to me. He's very raw. You'd have to coach him up a little bit, but we already drafted 2 ends. And I like Isaiah McGuire more as a pro prospect. Jacorian Bennett from Maryland. I feel bad because we already did that, but I wouldn't be upset with it. He's the best prospect available here. Might as well grab another cornerback, especially with L'Jarius Sneed coming up on a contract year. You're going to need that depth, so just in case. Can never have enough good corners. McGuire's still there. It's pick 180. I mean, come on. Let's do it. I'm so repetitive in these mock drafts, but I just can't help myself because I have my guys that I like. Bryce Ford Wheaton at wide receiver. We could get another one. Did they take Jonathan Mingo? They might have. Yep, they did. Matt Landers is there, though, from Arkansas, who he's got a lot of speed. He'd be a gadget guy, but I like what he does. Bryce Ford Wheaton was an elite athlete. I'm going to go with him, I think. Upside is strong with him. And I do think there's a very good chance the Chiefs draft 2 wide receivers in this draft. Creates a lot of competition since you already have Justin Ross, John Ross, Justin Watson, Richie James, all those guys. But hey, if you see a guy you like, you got to go for it. And you figure out the rest later. It'll be a good problem to have. Matt Landers is still there. Honestly, I would be even interested in Matt Landers. Like I said, he could be a gadget guy, but even taking some snaps at running back. I mean, he's really fun to watch with the ball in his hands. We're in the 7th round. I'm taking a shot. Matt Landers from Arkansas. I know he's a Ryan guy too. At least I'm pretty sure. Tavius Robinson, edge from Ole Miss. Ole Miss has got a lot of interesting prospects every year. They always put out good athletes too. He's a tweener, but we'll go with it. All right. So we finished up there. Let's take a look. Jordan Addison, I love that pick. Elite wide receiver in this draft. You could very easily argue that he's wide receiver 1, just depending on who you ask. Jalen Duncan, good tackle prospect, fills that need at right tackle. He can compete right away with Lucas Niang for the starting right tackle spot. Zach Harrison, the edge from Ohio State, who I don't love, but I feel like he was the safest pick there. Then we took Andre Carter, the edge from Army, who's very light, doesn't have a lot of strength yet. He could add on to his frame very easily. He just needs to get into an NFL weight room, I feel like, and he could be a force. He's not the greatest athlete. Well, he's another guy that just didn't test that well. I believe he's a better athlete than he should, and he could play a little bit of off-ball linebacker even potentially at first, and then move up to having his hand in the dirt or even standing up on the edge. Maybe not even a hand on the dirt guy, but I think he could do some things good for you. I mean, at pick 123, no harm, no foul. Brandon Hill, the safety from Pittsburgh, he was probably the best player on the board there, and then we doubled up, or not doubled up, but we doubled up on secondary and shorted up with Jacorian Bennett. Again, can never have enough good corners. And then my guy, Isaiah McGuire from Missouri. I don't know if there's a mock draft where I haven't taken him. I'm really hoping for him to end up on the Chiefs in the mid rounds. I just think he just screams solid pro to me. So I really like what he does. McGuire, like, he doesn't even, he tested very well, which most Missouri guys the last few years have not tested super well. They have not put out the best athletes. The fact that Isaiah McGuire produced the way that he did at Missouri, and he's a really good athlete, makes me feel good about his outlook in the NFL. He's got some speed. He's not super bendy either, but he's got a little bit of bend. I mean, he can turn the corner pretty well, so I like what he does. Bryce Ford Wheaton from West Virginia. If you watch the guy get the ball just kind of by the line of scrimmage and let him do his thing, that's what he did at West Virginia a lot. I like what he does. He's another smaller guy, but again, I like what he brings to the table. At pick 219, hey, no harm, no foul. Matt Landers, that's my guy that I think he could replace McCole Hardman essentially. Do some of those gadget things, maybe take some snaps at running back. So I avoided drafting a late round running back because of Matt Landers. He doesn't have, I'm not even saying that he necessarily has the build for a running back, but he reminds me of McCole Hardman a little bit. And then Tavius Robinson, the edge from Ole Miss, who's got some good functional athleticism. Will need some polishing, but you get him in there with Joe Cullen, see what happens. So that's my second mock draft. That's about all I'm going to do. I think between this one and the last one, I think the last one was a little bit more well-rounded, but this one, my first couple of picks were on the money. But again, you can say my first one is better because even though I maybe made the better first-round pick, I still took Jalen Duncan in the second round, so it was like a copy of the other one in that regard. But I want to hear from you guys. Which one do you like better? Do you like my second mock draft or my first mock draft? Let me know. I want to hear from you guys. Also, do you agree, disagree with any of my picks? Let me know in the comments. The draft is here, guys. It's tomorrow. That's when it starts. And make sure you leave down in the comments if you would like to do a live mock draft with me where you guys help me make the picks. I think that would be really fun. But yeah, that's all I got for this one, guys. That is my mock draft episode 2.0 for the Kansas City Chiefs 2023 NFL Draft. Guys, we are almost there. The countdown is almost done. But with all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. And make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com. And I will see you all in the next one. Go Chiefs!